how the 2.5% actually affects us, what we're expecting as far as dollars coming in. We're looking at, I mean, I reported that our overall revenue is only going up by about 1.1%. Inflation somewhere around 5%. Gives us a 4% loss on inflation costs. Yeah, so that's really where my report really delved into. If you have any questions.
I didn't see because I had looked at it. I asked to look at it when the report when they got with the estimated what we were going to be getting from the NPI for our state aid before we started negotiations, and it actually showed from last year to this year. Because last year we were getting 4%. This year now we're only at 2.5%. Just coming up here. And additional dollars from last year to this year was $47,744.10. Something like that was all that we will do in addition to what we got last year. That's it.
You have nothing else? I need to, we didn't communicate on this. I'm assuming we have to act on this request to get to come back to teaching. Can I read this?
Yeah, I have it on the agenda.
Where do you have it at?
For Mrs. Walsh talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the FCCLA rescinding of resignation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't see that.
Yeah, we talked about it and I put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Number.
Yeah, I don't think I have it.
I don't have it on here, so.
Number 4 on the 4.
Mine just says the trip.
Unless they printed out the wrong one for your packet.
So where it says SSC national trip, that's what we're going to talk about. The
Yes, I added.
FCCA teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
We'll change that.
We'll change that to teacher on that number 4, and I'll bring that in.
It was actually, no, it's on the website.
Right.
Oh, mine.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where they got one for the packet. I'm not sure where that came.
Okay.
Printed this long
Okay.
time.
But you asked
As
me
long
to
as
put
it's
it
on
on
the
there.
agenda somewhere, we're okay. All right, so now we'll can I have a motion to accept the superintendent's report? Yes. Okay, yeah.
So you have on there technology strategy that the district is implementing a 5-year Chromebook purchase. Did that go through the committee? And well, whether it did or not, it needs to come from the board before, and that's a board decision.
I brought that to the board, I think 3 times. I think we've talked about that 3 times. I just. Yeah, it was a 3-year before, but then we talked, I think we talked about that in one of my first meetings, that we were going to try to transition because of the financial problems I saw coming as far as dollars.
But we haven't seen an approved and updated plan.
I believe I brought that, I think, twice already. I think I'm just regurgitating what I've already brought to you again.
Can you get us the plan?
Well, I will go and write out the plan again. So
Okay, see that, it's going to be written. Okay, all right, with that then, anything else? No? Okay, I would like a motion to accept the superintendent's report.
So,
Go ahead. James, probably moving second, that we, accept the superintendent's report. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Motion passed. Mr. Haas.
Hi, I've got our counselor, Missy Galvin, as I promised in that presentation I gave you here. She's here to present some of the things she's been doing for our schools.
Awesome.
Hello. My counseling program sits on 3 legs: social emotional learning, career exploration, and academic success. I've met twice a month with 6th grade students, and then I met with grades 7 through 12 during homeroom for most of the year. I also have an open door policy for students to come in at any point in the day when they need a break, emotional support, to vent, or what have you. The social emotional learning is addressed mostly through informal activities where we talk about the things like stress, what causes stress for you and where you feel it physically, and then how do you get it out of your body. We talk about ways to use stress to our advantage and how to rid the body of stress. And an activity I've done at nearly every level is breathing practice, like rainbow breathing and square breathing. Have you guys heard of those techniques? It's really great for, elementary kids. You do rainbow breathing, so you make a rainbow, so you breathe in and you put your arms up, and then you breathe out and you put your arms down, and that's a rainbow breathing. And a square breathing is a great technique for anyone to do. I mean, we probably don't want to be sitting in board meetings doing rainbow breathing, but if we're starting to feel a little stressed, we can count to 4, because everyone can count to 4. And square breathing is, you draw a square, and every side of the square, so like I would breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. No, you breathe in and you hold your breath. This is what makes it 4. And then you breathe out for 4 and hold it for 4 again. And so just regulating our breathing makes our brain, both sides work of our brain, and it just helps calm everything down. So I need to practice that right now. Anyways, so career exploration is another area that we cover throughout the year in different ways. This fall, all 9th and 10th graders went to the Career Expo in Minot. So we got to spend a day in Minot learning about different jobs. Employees or employers and colleges were set up with tables and hands-on activities for the students. We had lots of opportunities, including medical professions, HVAC, welding, farm equipment were there, and there was even a booth that is there pretty often with a golf cart and a trailer, and kids get to practice backing that up. And so watching kids that have no experience backing trailers is really fun. So it's a good time. We had some other trips throughout the school year, and for those, I opted to have students sign up to attend. It doesn't pay to take kids that are not interested in diesel mechanics to a diesel shop. That just doesn't make sense. So we had some other medical career opportunities through the Sanford Hospital and the University of Mary. And most recently, I took a group of kids to demo days, which was really awesome. It was sponsored by the North Dakota Construction Leadership Committee, and students got to go out to an old gravel pit and run new heavy equipment. So we had skid steers, bobcats, telehandlers, all kinds of different equipment. And I think one of the, it's a boring machine, like that's the name of the machine, but the operator there had the best conversation with the kids. They sat and talked with him for like 20 minutes, and they asked questions like, do I need to have a college degree to run this? Oh no, you can have a high school diploma and come and work for us. Well, how much money would I make? Oh, about $20 an hour. If I were to work on this machine for 10 years, how much do you think I can make? Oh, probably close to $40. Like, the kids were very interested. Before I even got on the road, Mrs. Galvin, we need to do this again, but we need to come earlier. We need to get to school earlier so we can spend more time there. We left when school started. And so these are kids that want to get out and have those experiences. So it's fantastic. So I was so glad to hear that they had such a great idea, or they great time. They were so excited to hear they didn't need college to operate most of those machines, and they could walk on a job site with just their high school diploma. So it was a great opportunity. And opposite of other events that I've had to do, this was one where kids were like, they didn't complain about leaving early. They wanted to leave earlier. So I thought that was a need to have that dichotomy. Hands-on was like super important to them. As for the academic success of students, we have taken a lot of tests this year. And I just want to touch on the NDA Plus assessment. That's the new assessment that the state is using for accountability. And we do that for everyone in grades 3 through 8 and 10. And so we had wonderful staff working at both elementary and high school to complete the testing this spring. But this is the first year of the assessment, so we won't have any results until the fall. The scoring takes some time to get in, and then technical things I don't always understand, but just so you know, spring scores aren't immediately available. They'll be available in the fall. Most of our juniors took the ASVAB test this past fall. We had a range of scores like we usually do, 50s to 90s, so just kind of depends. The ACT is no longer a mandatory test for the state of North Dakota because we use the NDA Plus assessment now for accountability, as I said earlier. But one thing we can do for our students is to offer to be a testing site. So this removes barriers of time away from school, travel time to a center, as well as reduced cost to the students. So does that help answer some of the questions of the ACT? So we had the students pay for the test. They had a reduced rate. I think it was like $25 to $30 less for them to take it here than it is for them to take it at a test center. So it's valuable to them in that respect. So we had students pay the school, and then the school is billed by ACT to pay for those tests. So I hope that when that question popped up, I'm like, I know the answer. So there you go for that one. Our school's average ACT score over the last 5 years remains at 20, and this year was 19.9 was our average. And the national average is 19.9, so we are hanging right in there with the national average, so that's good to see. Several students taking online courses this year, and so I help them get all signed up with those things. We have the North Dakota Center for Distance Education, and we do college credit through Lake Region State College. The Center for Distance Education is for courses that we currently aren't offering in-house, or they may not be available at a time that a student can take them in-house. So those are the times that we offer that, or also recovered credit. So like, let's say someone has failed physical science as a freshman. Well, it doesn't fit into their schedule to take it again, so we offer that they can take it through the Center for Distance Education as recovery credit for that semester. Some of the courses our students are taking through the Center for Distance Education are various types of art, some elective English classes, and animal science. Harvey High School also offers dual credit English and math classes for our senior students in-house. So they are able to get both the high school credit and the college credit for that course. And aside from math and English, the most popular courses at Lake Region have been speech and psychology. So those are some courses the students are taking maybe during school time, maybe on their own time, but it's for college credit only. Our graduating class has 22 students, and 20 of them are going to college this fall. We have a range of career goals from medical related careers to agronomists and everything in between. Our 2 students that are not going to college are entering the workforce pretty immediately after graduation. So I think that's important that we recognize that we are producing productive members of society, and I can't think of anything better that a school could produce. I expect to have many of the seniors apply for and receive the North Dakota Scholarship this year as a result of their hard work and the school's dedication to ensuring coursework, especially those CTE courses that are available to them. Monday, we just had our honors and awards ceremony that was well attended, and what a thrill it was to be part of the community and help award over $30,000 in local scholarships to those college-bound students. So I just wanted to say thanks for bringing me into the Harvey school system. I really enjoy being here and look forward to many years working with you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
It sounds like you've been very busy.
Yes.
She's very good at making sure if there's any opportunities that come across, getting to the kids and working with us and getting there whenever we can. So in my report, I wanted to add a couple thank yous. When we did every spring and every fall, we have a grill day where we grill for the kids, and the FFA alumni and Farm Supply were the ones that supplied the hamburger for that. So thank you to them, and then also a huge thank you to Knudsen Construction. They have built our temporary ramp that we're using for graduation. They've come in, they built it, they're going to come in and tear it down, and haven't asked for, they said they want to donate everything to help us out. So huge thank you for them to do that. So those are a couple of messages.
That's awesome. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. House?
Just to mention on the curriculum, is there, like for the cybersecurity, is there something we could see?
Yeah, that's a wide open, it's an open forum site that's got everything broken down by standards at cyber.org. Yep. And then the other piece on the curriculum for the dual credit. So when I went through, I contacted the issuer of the textbook, and there's a college algebra, and then there's it's algebra and trigonometry. And when I was telling them our situation, they explained to me the book that we're getting actually has 3 extra sections in it that the college algebra one doesn't, but it's cheaper because it's not called college algebra. Everything lines perfectly the same, and that's all gone through Lake Region, which is who we provide their. They like us. It used to be when I first started started teaching the dual credit, they wanted us to stay within 2 editions of it, and then they went away from that. Well, now this book is from 1990 or something. So, I mean, the concepts haven't changed, but now we just need to get, they don't understand cell phone minutes and CD sales and stuff like that. So, I mean, we change it up. I have the conversations with them, but we're
I think we have to approve those. Do we know?
Well, cybersecurity, yes.
Cybersecurity, we did the last
The
meeting.
the curriculum?
Yes.
Well, it says it's free.
Right,
No,
but we still approve curriculum.
we approved the
Oh, I
curriculum at
see.
the last meeting, I believe.
to add the course.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
We did to have the course, but not the curriculum.
Oh, I guess
Okay, I guess it's,
I felt like that meant that the curriculum
if you
was.
feel comfortable, if you feel,
But whatever, we can,
so let's go ahead and make a motion to accept the curriculum.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept both the college algebra and the cybersecurity curriculum.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, properly second, moving second to accept those, the college algebra and the cybersecurity. Discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
The college algebra will be in the 25-26 budget.
okay, any more questions for Mr. Haas? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept his report.
so,
Second? Okay, probably, second by Vanessa, probably moving second, they will accept Mr. Haas' report. Discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Okay, motion passes. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, you've got my, it wasn't much of a report, but there was a lot going on, I guess.
I would say, looks like,
Baseball come to a conclusion tonight, we beat 10-0, so.
it hasn't quite the delay today.
Yeah,
That would rain.
expected to be about 2 o'clock, it'll be 5:45, I believe.
I think that's what last time I heard.
He texted me just a minute ago, said, and
Tracks and for you.
what's that?
Tracks.
Yeah, track, we've got, good representation, I think the, softball, I moved everything Thursday, Friday, Saturday, expected to be done originally today, but that'll be moved. Golf, hopefully, last year, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, it was at Carrington and it was terrible, it rained, we'd have had 18 holes, they'd have moved it here, but with 9, they didn't.
Was it regionals that was so windy and dust, like a dust storm?
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Had a tough year of golf, it's been very cold and just not nice conditions, so, we have 7 going to state, which is really good, we can have, it's crazy, there are rules, they can have 6 on a team, and the 2 coaches can coach 6, but the 1 person has to be alone. Non-zone. So, Brody was last, he's a freshman, and he's on his own.
No.
That,
Speech too, I say we had to be coach of the year in speech.
Yeah.
Run the track. too.
yeah, we had 2 senior athletes, male and female track. So, yeah, it was a nice,
It's a busy
good
spring.
spring, yeah, real good spring. I did have a question when we talked about driver's ed, that do we need to get that brake hooked up in the Traverse, or do we rent a car for driver's ed? We rented we hooked the brake up, but we rented a car. And so
I think we split the cost last year. We did the Traverse for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then we did a rental car so they got experience in both vehicles.
Well, I think the second year one of the last 2 years, we never used that Traverse.
It's a cost consideration for the board if you want to do, if you
How
want to.
much, what is the difference between renting and,
I don't remember what it was, I don't remember the reason, there was some,
I thought we had an issue.
Yeah, that's it.
well, we were down the Impala. And maybe that's why we looked at, we were gonna,
I was thinking if we aren't gonna need it.
It was the
Traverse.
suggestion, so it came, Brian suggested to me that we try the Traverse for it. And then they used it, they tried it, and they said, you know, it's a little bit more challenging for some of the 14-year-old kids. So, you know, if you want it, if the board wants the budget, or the board wants the budget for a full rental car, in the next year, you can do that. I didn't, you could split it half and half, you could do whatever you want.
Didn't the insurance companies pay for, didn't they?
No. The insurance companies don't do that, they just put a magnetic sign on the, because they have our insurance, but.
Well, 2 years ago, I think, an insurance company,
Used to it.
a sponsor.
Yeah, there was some.
We had a sponsor.
I thoroughly explored that, that's not an option anymore.
If we don't need the Traverse, if it's not so expensive, then we just.
I don't know why not.
It was 2,700 for that.
And that was, so you double that, because we used the Traverse half.
Okay, I guess I would, I'd like to entertain a motion so that Mike knows what to do and so we're not, I'd entertain a motion in which way you want to go on this.
I think we can, you know, just knowing it now, I think we can get it done. We have an issue, we can figure this out.
I was to say, Lonnie, I'm gonna need it, I don't know, you know, what else is, if they're gonna need it for any drive. I didn't know.
Probably, how many weeks is driver's license? Two?
Well, she usually drives longer than that. though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
she
think-
has
yeah,
2 weeks
yeah,
of classes.
driving is-
She usually drives, in my experience, when she used to,
Wasn't it almost a month?
she almost drove into, I want to say the 4th of July, usually she did.
I think.
No, I think she got it done right before August. It was.
And
there's
some
a big
years it's
class.
later, some
It
years
depends
it's
how
later.
many kids there is, so I
It's
think
a-
that's the
getting
only
the
thing that.
kids. Okay, so, before we discuss here, what are we going to do?
I guess I move that we use the Traverse, assuming that it's available.
Okay, I need a second.
Second,
Okay, the motion on the floor is we will use the school-owned Traverse as available. Any discussion? Any discussion?
yeah, I don't think it's that challenging. I took it on. I got a couple of them.
And who puts the brake in? Mike, does
Right.
Rod do that?
Well, yeah, we have it, I mean, it's not hooked up, but it just has to be. But that's the thing, is I'm gonna need to get him on it, like now, because he is gonna file, you know, for Social Security, he doesn't wanna work past May. He wants to wait until next year.
You got
Or
one,
till-
you got 1 week to have it in.
If not, can't you take it to someplace to have it done to?
I mean,
So,
if you can. but
if you can, okay, all right,
Most of the kids drive bigger vehicles.
yeah, I agree. Okay, we all good? One more time, discussion. Motion on the floor is that we will use the school-owned Traverse. Work out the schedule with Mike. All in favor, please say aye.
Alright.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. So you know what to do, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything else, Mike?
Yes, I do. One question is our co-op payment from 23-24 school year is past due. And it was supposed to be to the board, but, and to be paid this month. So I think if we don't see it Friday, I think by Monday, Tuesday, and I don't care if I'm the one or Bobby or Jane, whoever, but we have to be in contact with them because we're ready to send them 24-25.
Right. I just
So-
thought
So
about,
I've been in touch with them. They said they were gonna pass it at their last meeting.
Yeah.
Because they had to pay it out of multiple funds.
Yeah.
And I was actually gonna bring, if it didn't come quickly, I was gonna actually bring a formal letter to the board so that there was action to send it to Fessenden, so there was formal action. Because we've gotta have some documentation that we're trying to get them to pay this co-op and that they're in violation of the agreement.
other than we've had, I don't have a system manager call a few different times, but
Yeah.
I have to think about it today, and I just had asked me, hadn't gotten, I felt the same way, that if we don't have it, I mean, Monday's a holiday, but I think Tuesday,
Yeah.
we send them and do something, because she will have that one, she'll have the bill ready by the end of June for
There
this.
could be 120,000 due by August
Yeah.
between the two. And we really this year need to get on a program of turning that bill in like November 1st and then again maybe
Yeah, however,
March
if they
1st or
want it in
whatever.
2 chunks, but yeah,
to
she's
make
got,
them small
this
and
one
quick.
she'll have done
Yeah.
right away.
Okay, so I'm hearing that maybe we should have a motion to,
I'll make a motion that if we haven't received the payment by Friday, which is the 23rd, that Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday, Tuesday, let's have Dr. Luke can send a letter.
okay? I need a second to that motion? Okay, second by James, okay? So the motion is that if we do not receive the payment by Friday, on Tuesday, he will write a letter and asking, and politely asking what it is. Is that what I'm hearing here? Any discussion? Discussion, discussion. All in favor of, if we do not have this by Friday, we will write a letter on Tuesday. Please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Mike, are you still talking?
One more.
That's okay.
It all came up late, and I know he has it on his deal too, but the park board brought me in their letter for next year's, we were at 2,000 a year lease, we'll be at 3,000 a year this year, and we kind of did talk about that
So,
last fall.
and we'll
We
talk
brought
about
it
that,
up.
because there is an actual
Yeah.
thing, because I kind of want to house clean with that a little bit, because that needs to be looked at. Like
Yeah,
that.
there's I think I gave Zane the letter from the park board. That moved it from 2 to 3.
So our agreement states that, that we have, that I've seen, that is in the file somewhere, that we pay $2,000 in perpetuity. But they want to change it, and that's fine, we can change it, but then I would recommend to the board, and this is coming up later, that we look at some of the liability stuff, like who's in charge of what. You know, we had a kid, brandish a dangerous weapon at a game last year. We had, like, is the park board responsible for any damage that comes from that, or are we, whose event is that? Like, what is, there's not, it is a simple 2-line agreement that we are just gonna pay them that much, but there's no terms to it. So we just wanna make sure that we are clear about what the liability is of the agreement going forward.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there must have, I mean, at some point, I think it never, in history, ever came up about an injury on their facility with
think
rec
it's
board.
This is something I dealt with right away when it came in and we made that payment, and I asked to see the agreement, like right away, like the September after I started, I asked to see it, and I was told there is no formal agreement, but they did update it recently. So then they showed me the actual agreement. It's a printed Word document with just in Times New Roman, just says they will pay $2,000 per year
Right.
in perpetuity. And so if we're gonna open that up, I really suggest that we get more liability and understanding of whose is whose. You know, we put the scoreboard up. Are we in charge of maintaining that scoreboard, or are they? Who, like, let's get all that out in the open so that, you know, there's no disagreement or squabbles over silly things.
True. That would definitely, we should, because, yeah, or what happens if somebody wins something, you know, over there too? Who is
Well, we did
responsible?
have that, and the park board paid that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the bathrooms
Oh, yeah,
vandalized.
that's right.
Park board paid that.
So, right, is that covered under the liability? But yeah, it would be good to have all those different scenarios, you know, instance like that, or vandalism, or whatever, or something, and, yeah.
So and the process I did go through is I started trying to write this all myself back then. And I brought it to our attorney for review, and she said, honestly, the last time I did this, I worked with the other organization's attorney to make sure that there was legal representation on both sides. And so I think I've kind of tabled that personally, and now that here we are, this is something you can get done this summer, this is something you can clean up before football, and they want some more money on it, you know, kind of thing. get those two sides together, get those legal liabilities hashed out, pay the extra $1,000, and now we're covered forever. We can just use that same agreement over and over and just move on from it.
I have two questions. One is, so you're saying that all the bus drivers are coming back? That's different than what you told me before. So I'm
Yes,
glad to hear
as,
this.
as of when I wrote that, after talking with everybody,
You have all 4 guys coming back. That's awesome. And then, I thought I saw something today on Facebook, do we have a student that got recognized for esports, on a state or national level there?
we did yesterday.
That's amazing. So what exactly did you get honored for? Or don't you totally know, or?
I don't totally know.
Like Raven?
Sarah's still,
Raven
Sarah's
coach
here.
I'm
Sarah's here.
still here.
Oh, yeah, Sarah, get up. Say something, please.
So Michael has been selected by a organization called League OS. They run a lot of the different esports leagues throughout the United States, both college and high school. And he's been essentially seated as the #2 student in incoming juniors in the country.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow.
Very good. I think it's cool. It goes to show you why we're offering some of these other
Yeah.
activities, so, thank you. Okay, if nobody else has any questions for, Mike, can I have a motion? You have a question?
Move to accept.
Okay, move to accept? Second? Okay, probably move second to, accept Mike's report. Even though it's a little windy, but that's okay, we're used to that. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Okay, now we will go to the, items for discussion, be legendary.
Yeah, you just, I know we had that meeting the other day. This is just on there to talk about, the grant extends. Do you want to extend the grants? I think with the new superintendent, you have put a cocoon of people around them who are capable and able to answer questions. I mean, honestly, this would be a good person to have around your new superintendent, I think. But it's up for you guys to decide if you extend the grant out another year. It's money in, money out. It's free.
It needs to happen today.
Yes. it needs to happen.
Okay, so let's have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we go forward with that year.
Okay, let's have a second, please. Okay, probably move a second, then we move forward with year 2. Now we'll discuss. Any discussion?
I thought we didn't want to. I thought our last discussion about this was pretty.
I think it'd be good to have this around your new superintendent, having regular meetings with people who know what's going on. He's never done this before. You've got to kind of surround him with a cocoon of people who have done a lot of this stuff before. I think that would be very beneficial for your group.
That might be the only reason I would go for it, I guess. If it helps him.
From what I saw in the last year, though, I'm not sure what she brings to the table that's gonna be so helpful to the superintendent. I'm
Wasn't it
against
also,
it.
gonna be like also bringing in the principals and things too, I think, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have a meeting on the 28th to try to keep the principals all on the goals you guys passed.
And I think, and me, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, I'm saying it's money in, money out, so we're not losing money on it. And I just wanna, I think we need to back our new incoming superintendent with as much resources as we possibly can. And after year 1, we realize that he doesn't need it, then we'll just go without it. But I think maybe
Right,
for,
I don't know if it's paid for after year 2.
yeah, well then maybe we could,
That I don't know.
okay? All right, any more discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor of 1 more year, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, we have the Hanson third level flooring, we brought that, we had it at the last meeting, didn't make a decision, so we brought it back, showed up under old business, so where are we at on that? Ready to vote on that, or?
I was touching base with the Be Legendary folks. What was your question?
Okay, we're on number 2 here, we're on the VM Hanson third level.
Oh yeah, this is just the reconsideration. We tabled the bid for Peggy Lemaire's flooring. We had those bids out. We said we were gonna re-examine the bids. We found maybe it
Didn't
just
have
didn't have the carpet in
Didn't
it.
have the carpet yet.
Yeah, so then we brought that forward, it was just tabled definitely, so it appears on the next meeting. The one, the one was not carpet squares, and it was like, I think she has $4,700 raised. So I think the one was just over $7,000, the one with everything, that was squares that you could lift up and put down. The other one was rolls, and that was cheaper, right here, and then he's got the bids here. You remember it, that was good. So yeah, so the one here, you have, the one bid is $5,300, and that's the 6-foot rolls, and then you gotta roll out the 6-foot rolls. You wouldn't be able to necessarily, that's what you have in there now. You wouldn't necessarily change that. The 6306 is the squares, I believe. Yeah, perfect tile, which then allows you, if say somebody throws up or something gets bleached or something, you can replace the one tile instead of like right now you have to take the whole roll out. It hasn't been done in 40 years, so.
And what was that one?
63.
63.
Unless it's discontinued, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, typically you buy some extra, so you don't want to buy extra, but you would maybe budget for some extra in a future budget, or you budget for extra in this budget. I know in Northwood, when we built that building, I was on the building committee there. They did the whole school in carpet tiles, and then they bought an extra so many tiles for the whole school to be replaced. And then here they were 10 years later, they hadn't used them all up yet.
Okay, so one more time, we have 6,300 as a bid, and the other bid was
53.
53, and she has raised $4,700. So now it's up to us how much we want to spend and what level we want to go. So I would ask what are the board's wishes?
Well, I'm a little confused as to what the bill is that we approved already.
3,500.
What's it for?
That was for the asbestos coverage of the tiles in
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
okay.
that
the
was something
speech
different.
suite.
Okay, all right, so what are the wishes here? 5,300 or 6,300 are your two choices. Needs to get done. Okay, so basically, how much do you want to put in of yours, and what do you think the quality is?
I would advise you to go with the tiles. Yeah, it's $1,000 difference. I mean, I would advise you to go with the tiles just because I've worked with tiles in other schools. I understand how easy
You
it
should
is,
buy a few extra.
and we'll budget a few extra. So that I will put in the budget some extra.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to do the carpet tiles.
$6,300.
63.
Is there a second to that motion?
Okay.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. James, go ahead. That we go ahead and do the $6,300 with the tiles, budgeting extra. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of the $6,300 bid, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, now, next on here is the park board. Are we already talking about that, or you got more to talk about there? Or?
That's exactly it. I just want permission to be able to work with our attorney as been brought up. I would put it in the next budget. We probably need the next budget to get that all, but, so the payment would come in after July 1st, after I'm gone, but I would get the conversation started between the park board and our attorney to make sure that we have all those things covered before we pay the bill.
Okay, are we good then? Need a motion, or?
I think there's a motion for me to move forward with the attorney on this. I think
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to have Dr. look at this, go further with the park board.
Work with the park board?
Yeah.
Okay, second? Okay, probably move in second that we allow him to go forward and start the process, and you'll have to get the new superintendent involved at some point, but, and then, any discussion?
important because of the liability nowadays.
Okay,
We could
Yeah.
really-
okay,
That being said, we need to address this attorney situation.
That's why I wanted a motion to go.
but you know what, you almost, you need, I don't know what else you do.
Yeah,
I told you that I tried to write this out myself and to try to save you guys some money, but it just, I wasn't able to cover it. And it's just so detailed and there's so many situations and you've got, they want the scoreboard to be our maintenance, okay? Well, the scoreboard's our maintenance. And then the speakers, Mike usually does the speakers, I do believe. And so how much of that? But we gotta,
Well, those were bought by the school.
yeah, but we bought them, but they're on their property, so we need to maintain them, and if that's the agreement, then that's the agreement, and that needs to be all lined out. I talked to the city as I was preparing for this meeting, I said, you're bringing law enforcement on, so are you part of this agreement? And they said, no, our law enforcement is just passing through a public event, we don't want anything to do with this agreement. So it's just simply outlining all of those things.
Okay, more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor then, of moving forward on this, with the park board, please say aye. Opposed? And motion passed. Okay, so then this next one is this letter I have to read here then? Okay, so, this is, relating to the FCCLA teaching position. Dear Harvey School Board, I have decided to withdraw my request for retirement. I would like to teach family consumer science in Harvey High School for the 25-26 school year. I'm willing to supervise and mentor a potential instructor. Thank you for consideration of this request. So, what are the board's wishes here?
Make a motion to accept.
You have to move to rescind your acceptance of her resignation.
Okay,
Okay, I will move to rescind the acceptance of the resignation.
okay, is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion?
yeah, I'm confused.
She's not retiring.
I understand the first semester, but what about the second
He's
semester?
teaching both semesters, and I think the second semester,
He's doing parent
he'll do
teacher.
a pair-off thing, where he'll be a pair underneath.
And so parent and teacher under the state, or is that gonna cost us more money?
He'll be a para in your district for 3 to 4 days a week. So you'll budget 80% for a half semester at $13 an hour.
And is he student teaching?
When the next fall, he will be eligible to student teach and you'll apply for full licensure. So the new rules, you don't have to student teach to teach.
Well, I guess if that's,
I mean, he would be certified on the fall of 26.
Yes,
Cause yeah, you have to go back for another day or two.
one class on Friday and the state's paying for the class.
because with our tight budget, that's gonna be something to think about. I guess it doesn't change her rescinding resignation, but
Well, I think you have to make sure that she's gonna come back because she's going to help this kid and make things, and we gotta make this right for her too, so.
right, I was just understanding she was full-time, the first half of the year, I guess, I didn't realize.
He's not gonna, there's one class that's
You can't be here every day the second semester, so.
no. So he'll be able to be in the classroom, maybe teach some lessons, maybe do that shadowing with her. And
Right, but if we're adding what would it be, a third time parent and teacher dollars for a budget, that's something to consider.
Yeah, I think that's something that would be at a budget discussion, because
Yeah.
that's like you're adding, like you added a lunch supervisor this year. That was a discussion you had at the budget meeting.
Right, but once we've already done the process of saying, we're gonna pay you this and we're gonna pay you that, once you go to the budget meeting, we can't change that. So I think we have to have the discussion when we're discussing whether or not we're gonna do this here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do agree it is a consideration, and I don't think that, I guess I'm thinking about the future to be assured we're going to be, because wasn't that part of it, that you definitely have to be a teacher here, for at
Yeah.
least the 26, 27. school
Or else he
year.
pays back the money.
Right, for the tuition.
And I
So
think,
I get it, I totally understand, I know the budget is going to
and the
be.
parent program has been a very, you wanna say something about Mr. House? I mean, it's been a wonderful thing for us.
That's how we got the one that's doing junior high social studies and cybersecurity with the parent teacher program.
That's how we're doing the special ed, we're running through that.
That, I know budgets are crunch, and I know we have to talk about things, but at the same time, we're here for students, and we gotta find ways to make all this work, so I know it's tough. Okay, so, any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Then all those in favor of, okay, so, Zane, showing my parliamentary procedure, the kids that left would have nailed me on this. The motion to rescind is 2/3. I can't go by voice, so you must call a roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I do count. Your numbers are count. Okay, so, all in favor? Motion passes. Okay, so the next thing we have is HCAE, disbursement of monies.
So we wanted to bring this to the board, I don't know if you guys have it before you, but. What, what's that?
HCAE, is this not the new one? Oh. I couldn't even. Was it at our meeting?
Yeah, this is about the signature stuff and. It was, I think it was in the packet.
Not in this color, I think.
It was in our policy.
Yeah,
I'm
that
sorry,
was-
I didn't go back to that one, I went back and pulled out my policy from the old one, I'm sorry.
I don't think I got that. But go ahead and talk about it.
Well, okay, so. Should I just read it?
There was, one of the questions was, when it says, an itemized listing of all bills paid shall be given to the board each month for approval, and then we can decide, okay, with receipts, is it at request, or this said with receipts attached? Well, I don't think we have to bring all the receipts here, but yet, that was just our question as to what we had wanted, right?
Oh.
That was the first thing that I noticed.
Yes, we talked about doing at request for, because you're right, that would be a lot of
Right,
receipts,
so like-
although they have to be
So,
available at request.
Which is what we have now, is a listing of the bills and things, but it's like, there's things they had attached, and we just wanted to say, should we just do it with receipts at request? Instead of, otherwise we have to bring all the receipts for all these bills every month. Is that okay? I think that was the only question, that was the first question.
That was the first question, yeah.
And we also had, I think this was the one, isn't this the one we had the question about the board president's signature? So.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
the main question.
So this is the one we've debated, talked about a lot. So in other schools, the business manager comes with all the checks, all of them.
And I have to sit down and sign.
Well, and then after you've approved them, he's sitting over here with a stamper stamping your name because you just approved it. And he's doing it in your presence, not necessarily doing it when you're not even there. So, that's kind of part of your policy. And if you're gonna take it out of your policy, that you're gonna allow the business manager to have a stamper and stamp it every time, that's something you need to have in your policy. That's something you can do, just because if he pays technically he's breaking policy by doing it. clearly so he understands the outlines of what he's
And
supposed
actually, based on the audit, I was thinking about this, and I think we need to keep with the board president doing the checks. I don't, the audit is already saying we don't split up our duties enough, and I honestly, I just don't think we should go there, but that's my opinion.
So you mean you want him to actually sign them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what you're, okay. I'm just-
Yeah.
Now it's Stanford, it'll be after you sign it.
Well, okay, I don't know that I care about Stanford, but this, if I remember, this says that the signature cannot be in the custody of the business manager, and I don't think it should.
So I think
It has been for-
the way it works in other districts, and I don't know if you are comfortable with this, like, after you pass most of the bills, the business manager sits over here and he is signing everything. So at the end of the meeting, as soon as this meeting will adjourn, before you guys leave the meeting, it's just stamp, get all those checks done. Next morning, he sends them all off.
And Kenny used to sit there and sign checks after
Yeah.
the meetings.
Did for the last number of years.
Yeah, I haven't.
I don't know if it changed. but I
So
think-
just change your policy to be what you want it to be, that's
Then
all.
the other thing too is that if we wanted to do that way, we have to have a meeting at least twice a month, because we've got some that, like, now, if he gets one tomorrow, like the last time, for example, we had a meeting on April 9th, and then now, they'd have been way past due, so that's the other thing, is like, so how do we wanna,
Almost all schools that I've been in have operated on a once a month pay scale, people just know that. But we also offer, people know the money's there, so we offer a little bit of security there.
But just because,
I mean, we should talk about that all at the same time now.
just because you're writing checks in between times doesn't mean that he shouldn't sign them in between times.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that should also be part of it now too. It's
Yeah.
like, do we want them to go ahead and let him pay some of those in between, or are we actually only gonna wait until?
Are you currently paying in between with others approving?
There we go.
It's been that way for
Can I
years.
ask a question, how it would work for, saying referees and umpires? You know, sometimes we get that a week, maybe not even a week notice, or we have in spring, we have a delay and the game canceled, but we can make it up tomorrow, we have different referees. So all we gotta have checks when they get here.
Well, when you approve the schedules, like the schedules should come before the board typically, and part of their motion should be to approve referees for all those games.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so the referee's gonna need a check, but maybe it's a different referee. That happens an awful lot. Sane will give me checks, and that morning I'll get a call that that referee can't come, rip a check up, and he writes a new one. So I mean, I totally agree. When I came from, one side in the business for the company, we called them controllers. Didn't sign at all. They wrote the check. And then there was multiple people that could sign. They weren't. So I get the protection part of it. I totally understand that.
So, I'm okay with that we say they have to be signed. How should we say this?
I would say, but as to the referee thing, when I was a referee in Grand Forks, I got paid once a month. They would ask me for, I would get a check from a lot of schools, or since I was working for the Grand Forks schools and I was a referee, they paid me through direct deposit.
We do that for anybody who works for us. They get
Yeah.
paid once a month.
But if I went to East Grand Forks and I ref games in East Grand Forks, East Grand Forks sent me a check,
Right, how soon?
like once a month.
Okay, yeah.
All
See,
my
here,
games were
everybody
tallied.
pays, I mean,
On
checks,
the night when they're there.
all referees know they're getting their checks that night. I mean, you can change that, you can tell them, hey, you're not getting paid. I mean,
How was it?
I'd get a ledger of every game that I'd done
right,
with the school on the receipt that came in the mail, and it was a check for all the games, and it was just a big check. Then I run and hide it from my wife, because she,
Big check, I mean, do you pay bills daily, or do you, at the end of the week, or?
It's probably depends on what comes up. Sometimes people come to me and say, I need things ASAP. Say that usually, I say on average, like twice a week, maybe once or twice a week, unless, there's things that come up and Mike says, I need to check within a day or two, and then I'll just do a little batch by house.
Thinking like speech is another one that's through the week, not sure who's qualifying. And maybe on Thursday before you go Saturday, they know what it's gonna cost us at speech meet, so then
I think that's,
Friday we do a check.
that is also why you have the $10,000 superintendent clearance, and then the superintendent has to be able to explain why he decided to write that check.
What? No, that doesn't change anything. It's still has to be signed by the.
No, he still have to sign it, but he's,
Yeah.
I think he just meant that be okay for him to pay it and then.
Take it to Wade and say, we need to do this, can you please?
Sometimes I do.
It's less than $10,000, Wade, you know,
I mean, I'm okay with having them actual signatures. I just wanted to make sure as to what was,
So,
it's
the
gone out
motion is
here,
that I would have to come in and actually sign the check.
so they didn't know if we wanted to change anything else with the motion.
Well, and that's, this is why we brought it to the board, because we wanted to know what you guys thought, because we're like, this is kind of.
Right. You know, even though it's been past practice for years, we just thought,
I think it was a changed practice from talking to Vanessa, like, because you guys used to sign checks at the board
we
meeting.
used to,
Used to,
a long time ago, yeah, and then it changed.
It wasn't that long ago, because it was while I was on the board.
yeah.
No, I know, no, but I meant it was for,
Yeah, no,
no, but I meant that was, because even she had to get together and mine.
It would help with audits, for sure, like,
Okay. All right, so we need a motion for that?
yes.
Okay,
well,
Motion to approve the policy.
the policy is what we're,
And it says in the policy that I'm signing the checks?
yeah, and that the business manager does not have your stamper,
Okay.
is what it says.
so if you wanted to, you could come in and you could still use your stuff.
Yeah,
But I have to do it in front of him?
well,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he doesn't wanna sign 50 checks.
I
he
can bring
stamp
you the
but you
checks and you can stamp them.
We'll figure it out, I can come in here, I can come in here.
yes, we give
So,
signature authority to the vice president.
Yeah.
and you can write them too.
Yeah, mine's in my drawer, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right, we good at this now? Okay, so that's in the,
Because here's actually what it reads, it says, the board president is authorized to provide a facsimile signature in accordance with law. This signature shall not be used by or nor shall be in the custody of the business manager. The superintendent shall develop measures to ensure compliance, but basically, you can stamp with it, it's just that he can't keep it, you need to bring it in.
That's why.
If you wanted to
The
read the
superintendent's supposed to do this, so that's why we brought it.
All right, okay, I'm okay with that. As long as I'm in this position. So,
Okay, I will make a
that could
motion.
always change,
I
right?
will make a motion that I guess basically that we would, this HCAE that we got, I'm sorry that you guys don't have a copy of it, but I forgot to order it, but yes, it does, it has that wording in there that we would do that, and then, and also the other one is that when we bring the bills, he doesn't need to bring the receipts along each month. That was the only two changes that we made.
Okay,
Yeah, that request.
This
So I
is the
will
first
make a
reading?
motion to pass this as first reading.
okay, there's a second. Okay, probably moved and seconded, that we, do this policy HCAE, how we distribute our money, as a first reading. Any discussion? Discussion. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Okay, so now we have 14 policies for first reading. Do we gotta go through each one of these? Or?
These all pass unanimously through.
No, they didn't. No, they did not.
Okay. Oh, maybe I think I just thought you'd pull them out, whatever you wanted to do. However you wanted to follow, bring a bunch of them up and pass all the
This is
ones.
just the first reading.
I would like to go through these because at the time we had the policy committee
Okay.
meeting, I did not have time to go through this
Okay.
big stack.
So here's what we're gonna do then. We're gonna go through all 14 one at a time. And we're gonna make a motion for each of the 14, and then you can discuss. So we'll start with number 1, GDAA, early graduation.
I make a motion to approve the first reading.
Second, Okay? Colette and James,